Okay, so the last video for the evening is just to clarify some things that pertain to the blog postings and forum postings that you have for this week. So again, there's posting number 4, 5, and 6. So just to go through those with you folks. Number 4, let me see here. In your textbook on page 130, between pages 130 and 134, it's asking you to analyze a photograph. So if you look in the previous video, we were looking at an advertisement, a video essentially. But here we have still photographs. So something that's a little more static, something where you can really sit and pause and look at it for a certain length of time. And so I just want you to pick one of those images on those pages and go ahead and just answer these questions, right? And you can think about that idea of a rhetorical analysis, right? Thinking about Ansel Adams's credibility, thinking about that cultural context surrounding the images. These were taken at the Japanese American concentration camps during World War II. Discussing, whether this is being used as propaganda, whether it's being used in some other fashion. Those things are certainly valid to talk about. So that's for posting number 4. Posting number 5 is, let me see here. Posting number 5, since you have to incorporate research in some sort of way to this second paper, this asks about your research process, right? So this might be your first college class that you've taken. You maybe have had to do at some point, right, whether it was in high school or even in your jobs and your careers, done some type of research. And so what was that process like? Because we've talked about your writing process previously. Now we're worried about your research process. So where did that information come from? What type of research do you usually depend on? Is it a specific type of source, etc.? So answering that specific question. And then posting number 6 is the one I think that might be a little bit more tricky for folks. What I'm asking for this is trying to get a sense of what you're going to use for that second paper, right? So what are the 2 valid online sources? Or again, you could use something from the textbook that you're going to use for that second paper. So what I want you to do is create an annotated bibliography, and I give a brief explanation here. Basically, an annotation consists of a citation. So if you're going to do it in MLA, if you're going to do it in APA, again, I'm okay with you folks using APA formatting for your papers. That's fine. But if you use MLA, how would that look? So how would it look on what's on your works cited page or your references page? That's the first component. The second is a paragraph where you do summarize the source. So what are the main ideas? How did these folks get the results? What was their main purpose? What were they looking at? What is it that they studied? Those types of questions. And then the second paragraph that you have would be giving an explanation of how it's going to be used in your second paper, which doesn't have to be very long, but just a sense of, okay, what point is it going to support? How are you going to draw upon that and do those types of things? And if you're looking for possible examples, if you go to the Writing Center's website for Endicott, so it's just endicott.edu/writing center. Under online writing resources here, there's a whole bunch of different resources, but there's one here that says how to prepare an annotated bibliography. It takes you to this great site from Cornell. So it gives you a little bit more explanation. It shows you some specific examples. So you can take a look at that as well and see if that can help you along in that particular process. But I just wanted to clarify what the assignments were and how you go about doing that for this week. But certainly if you're still having difficulties or anything, just feel free to contact me and let me know. Okay? Thank you.